strategic approach offers prospects for the country today and tomorrow.
We believe that Ghanaians and people in Ghana have the capacity for active public engagement with processes that determine how they live their lives. I think Michael talked about the historical processes that have taken place. We also believe that people across the various divides, be it the gender, the age, the political, the religious, the economic, the physical and intellectual circumstances, and even the socio-cultural, have demonstrated acts of public spiritedness which provide important lessons for us in our efforts to cultivate this culture in our national life, this culture of active citizenship.
The project consultant, Mr. Mauli Dake, also explained some of the factors leading to a decline in citizens' participation in the development of the country.
People engage and invest in things that are meaningful to them. And if they find that the state is not that useful to them, they have no interest in engaging or doing anything. And then we also raise the issue of toxic political climate, where as soon as you open your mouth, you are NDC or you are MPP. So those of us who don't want to be tagged, we choose silence. And there is also a lot of victimization. People saying if you speak out, a lot of people who genuinely care about you will reach out to you and say, hey, Charlie, be careful. Oh.
An active citizen is a person who acts both as a contributor to and a beneficiary of public service.
The youngest members of parliament going under the umbrella name Young Parliamentarians Forum have had a counseling session with students at the West Africa Senior High School WAS at Adenta in Accra. They sensitized the students to the need to avoid social vices which may mar their future or prevent them from becoming responsible citizens.
The Young Parliamentarians Forum is made up of the youngest members of parliament who have put their party colours aside and come together with the aim of influencing our society, particularly the youth, positively. They believe their duty to the nation goes beyond the traditional functions of the legislature. They are committed to touch and transform lives by going to the communities and schools. The group has started the youth sensitization in some regions. Their latest port of call was the West African Senior High School, WAS. The MPs took turns to educate the students on various social vices such as drug addiction and abuse, teenage pregnancy, and armed robbery.
Your life is like an egg. So if you are given an egg right now, the egg representing your future, if you make it drop, can you bring the pieces together? So your future is now. There's nothing like future. Whatever you want to be in future, whoever you want to become in future, the time is now.
The lawmakers later explained to the students some happenings on the floor of Parliament so they could better understand and appreciate the work of the legislature.
The Agricultural Development Bank, ADB, has presented a check of 600,000 Ghana cedis to Mr. Mohammed Mashood, the overall winner of the 2021 National Best Farmer Award. The 44-year-old man, who hails from the Myong district of the Northern Region, expanded his business.
Last year, during the National Farmers Day Awards held in Cape Coast, Mr. Mohammed Mashood Kujo was declared the overall winner. Across the country, a total of 165 gallant farmers and fishermen were rewarded for their efforts in sustaining the economy through the production of food and cash crops as well as fish. The managing director of the Agricultural Development Bank, ADB, Dr. John Mensah, who presented the check in Accra, said the bank remained committed to ensuring that the agriculture sector continued to play its critical role in the national economy.
ADB, as mentioned by the Minister, has been the lead sponsor of this noble award ceremony since 2001, and we will continue to support government in rewarding our gallant farmers and fishers in the years ahead.
The Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Uswefria Koto, appealed to other banks to support the agriculture sector, which remains the backbone of the national economy. Mr. Mohamed Mashoud said he would invest the prize money in his business. The agriculture sector contributes close to 54% of Ghana's gross domestic product GDP and employs about 60% of the population.
And on the foreign front, Burkina Faso's former president Blaise Compaoré has received a life sentence in absentia for his role in the assassination of his predecessor, Thomas Sankara. Sankara, who is 37, was gunned down along with 12 others during the 1987 coup d'etat that brought former President Compaoré to power. The pair had been close friends and had jointly seized power in 1983.
Across Africa because of his anti-imperialist stance and austere lifestyle. After seizing power at the age of just 33, the Marxist revolutionary, known by some as Africa's Che Guevara, campaigned against corruption and oversaw huge increases in education and health spending. While in power, Sankara changed the name of his country from its colonial one, Upper Volta, to Burkina Faso, meaning the land of honest people. The prosecution said Sankara was lured to his death at a meeting of the ruling National Revolutionary Council. According to ballistics experts who testified during the trial, he was shot in the chest at least 7 times. The verdict was greeted by applause in the courtroom following the 6-month trial that came after years of campaigning for justice by his family and supporters. Sankara's widow, Mariam Sankara, who attended the trial throughout, said the verdict represented justice and truth. After a 35-year wait, 10 others were also found guilty, including Mr. Compaoré's security chief, who was accused of leading the hit squad that killed Sankara. He has been on the run for several years and was also tried in absentia. He too received a life sentence. 8 other defendants received sentences ranging from 3 to 20 years, while 3 defendants were acquitted. However, there is little prospect that ex-President Compaoré will serve his sentence anytime soon. He has lived in exile in Ivory Coast since he was removed from office following mass protest in 2014 and has taken up Ivorian nationality. He previously denounced the trial by the military court as a political sham.
Now, 11 major international organizations are sending an alert that West African countries are being hit by the worst food crisis in a decade. 27 million people are going hungry, and according to these humanitarian groups, 11 million more are at risk if nothing is done by this June. Their report says drought and worsening floods have reduced the food sources as regional conflicts and the war in Ukraine. This appeal was made just before a virtual conference on the food and nutrition crisis in the Sahel and Lake Chad between the European Union, the Sahel and West Africa Club, and the Global Network Against Food Crisis. We'll take a break. We'll take the weather report, after which we'll take a break, and then we will go bananas. What can you do with bananas? I am Multity Saida Sadiq. Stay with us.
me. What she me you come 1 week me say WBT. Oh. Now who
yes. Boga, nade. Senior, name me any more cut down my business is a collapse my WhatsApp bank. So who take quick credit in car? Quick credit? Yes, quick credit. Who pesika? Eddie Eddie true udwediem. We are government and a private worker. Who pesika dey ate hot so. We are bosumi adwuma. Who here sika dey bibi ntempai so. Quick credit be ma loan. E mo tua ne kakra. Na enije sem kese ne say a collateral free loaner, susu, savings, account opening, and a deposit as MBL. The here and say, Wagana card 2022 year, 1 year Juma, now one hour young. Who need excuse here? Quick credit to 03022 00390 and 05969 20833. But see na quick credit take us auto out.
The show wa eja oba ene nkonkron dim.
The groom is sick.
What?
Malaria.
Malaria. Lufat.
Injija woman malaria enka won to them. Lufat, a malaria drop a cope.
And now you may kiss the bride.
Entrance Pharmaceuticals and Research Center. And I Lufat. Lufat, a 2 malaria sententem. FDA, I say a day in Kratoi Ajatum say.
And they call me UJ. Shoulder to cry. Run on my pampas, so we try was suicide. Yeah, let bygone be bygone. I did see what I'm gonna do. We go straight to start. I'm gonna take you to next level. My baby, oh yeah. The energy next level. But baby, oh yeah. I'll take you to next level. My baby, oh yeah.
I don't code next level.
Excessive drinking can be detrimental to health. Not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Good morning and welcome to Keep an Eye. You're watching GTV Breakfast, and the hashtag to follow all around is hashtag GTV Breakfast. This morning we're coming to you from the Ablekuma South constituency in the Greater Accra region. We're specifically at Kole Gono. We're only a few minutes away from the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, just to my left along the road, and then directly adjacent to us is the St. Mary's Senior High School, or St. Mary's Girls Secondary School, as it used to be known as. Just next to the drain you see behind me is the Kolebu or Kole Sempe Kolebu Manche Palace. And interesting why we're coming to you on the drain. This drain behind me is the main service drain that receives water from the entire constituency, and it ends up in the Kole Lagoon and then it goes into the sea. The drain has also service drains that picks or collects water from where all over the constituency or the entire neighborhood, and they all end up in this main service drain. But obviously what you can see is nothing to be referred to as a service drain. First of all, it has become a refuse dump. It is choked and blocked, and so water cannot run through it. Now, people who live in the community, given us it is choked and obviously water cannot flow through it, have also turned it into everything else, a refuse dump, a fecal matter dump, and obviously you can see that people do some kind of open defecation in there. The fear for the residents, though, is the fact that when it rains, May, June, the skies would likely open and the rains will come to us. If it should rain any day, anytime from now, and we should have more than 20 minutes of rain, a very good rain indeed, then by all means, what we can say for a certainty is the overflow of this drain, and residents who live close to the drain are the ones who will suffer. What you have as part of the suffering to those who live close to the drain is the Kolibu Sempe Manche Palace. And the palace is in the distance. That would definitely get hit. And then you also have people who have workshops around here who will also get hit. We spoke to some of the residents who are around this neighborhood. Mr. Dakumpacho, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Mr. Dakumpacho, what's now Bruno so in Fieseni?
Oh, my better Sempe Palace, yeah, almost 18 years.
18 years. Mpacho obetna ha no na gota na et.
Oh, gota no na emu da ho a nsuo to a flow. Oh, na say do say rainy season no bibia block a na gota no start say yama ba we dey me hu bi da kra.
Me pacho me da say. Senia
say dey enye gota bi mu. Me fan say adan bola.
Me bi e kra for me.
Ni o fine
74 years. It will be a for me, a beer no yo.
It will be a got an ole nyese kusani 74 years ne.
Oh fine got an be na affair. Then yo. Obata flash obanyo coming pony over work be sure me. Shak bene all of us I be about chake. Ball and yami. Toilet in yami. No fair no here. I can woman you what you mean you your nag bay. Nini a fair bad down how. Skawa na ni wo yue ajo wo ni 5 years ba land akashi no ko ba ni circle po no ni happy eje ete wo twa mi fe do me be ma na mi ntesu na ni Saturday Wednesday na twa mi was ani makunsema ntumi ni be 50.
So we also spoke to one of the elders of the Kolibu or the Sempe traditional area, and his name is Ni Laye Kolibu the Sempe Akwashon the First. And he had this to tell us about this drain and how that affects himself as well as members of his community. Ni ufaine na manye.
Yo manye banche.
Ni ufaine afie nye ni uhi Sempe mane.
Oh, mane mi afomi ni bianto ni imba pension. Ni obe yin fasa ni wo hin bi afomi imba fa be fo so nte imba nkuse. No fe magashin wona agbani wona ye neken gota na ji chuchukwe 1974 gibeni amefe ni walanza ni ko kwekeje tope ameke stop akwo jeme ni ke alenu me ma ifatu muneke keji alenu dwe baba bi stop akwo je ni keji dwe bajeme ni stop dwe tanganse bi ba lo ni akaya ene sana akaya ni amefe another one wu ye bie shi bi antoni ma ye ba fa ken mo ba ne kenu me ba lu ameshi ajoy ke ba wo mi wo ni bi ni sana nye ya ko le mi fe ya ke ka ni echi bo be wo bi ni be ba gba wo ne ba wo shen ba ya wo tujian mi. And
so that's been the Sempe Akwashon. Having spoken to Mr. William, who is also a resident, and then the Sempe Akwashon the First, his name is Nilaye Kolibu. He's explained to us the history of this drain and what is necessarily causing the blockage or talking of the drains. The assemblyman joined us, and so we're going to speak to him as well and also find out what he had done so far to ensuring that first of all his assembly members are safe, because this is a risk to health, it's a hazard to health, and no one is allowed to live in such a condition. And so, Honorable Assembly Member, please join us. Good morning, Honorable Tekuli. Welcome to GTV Breakfast once again.
Thank you.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
Wonderful. We're so grateful you've joined us. We've spoken to some residents. Mr. Williams spoke to us first, and then the elder of the community had also spoken to us, and they both seem to express the same sentiment. Why is this drain in this state, sir?
Actually, this is a major drain, so we have all refuse from upstream coming down when there is rain. Apparently, the attitude of the residents around the drain also has not caused or has caused the drain not to be in a good state because of the indiscriminate dumping of refuse into the drain by those around it. So that has been the bane of our community and of this drain.
Thank you very much. Some will argue, considering the state of the drain, that perhaps it may be bigger than what your resources immediately can deal with. What's your relationship with your MCE, the Greater Accra or the AMA itself, as well as your MP? What's the working relationship to help deal with this once and for all?
So, to be factual, my relationship with them is good. Severally, I've engaged them for this drain to be desilted. And every time, and then when we desilt it, then it wouldn't take long, and then it will be choked again. So that's what I'm saying. Currently, I've written a letter to the AMA to help us desilt this drain. We also think that the covered portion of the drain, because the drain goes from this place under the street to another one that is connected to the Kole Lagoon. We believe that under it would also be choked, and that is why there is no free flow of refuse from this side to connect that side. And so it's a big work to be done, and we'll need the support of the assembly.
One of the complaints we had from some of the residents here is the fact that the Tuesday market, being just up a few minutes walk away from here, perhaps help in getting the refuse into the drain, and because it's blocked somehow, when it gets here, it gets stuck. One would wonder, do you have refuse receptacles at the market to help the Tuesday market women?
Sure, we have refuse receptacles there. I don't think that refuse from the Tuesday market finds its way here, because we have Zoom Lion on the ground cleaning the market each and every time. And myself, we've been desilting the drain in and around the market occasionally. The volume of refuse coming down here, I don't believe comes from the Tuesday market.
Finally, Honorable, just before we take leave of you, I think, and this is my thought, you may see it fit or not, that's entirely something else to discuss, but as we walked along the drain, we find that not only do we have refuse, plastics, car parts in the drain, but we also found fecal matter. Does that mean residents who live along the drain somehow do not have toilets in their homes?
Sure. Residents that live along the drain do not have toilet.
Thank you very much. Before I take leave of you, standing next to this drain from out of it is just unbelievable. I find it strange how people could live along, and for me immediately it sends a red flag of health hazards. I want you to make a direct appeal, first of all to your MCE or DCE, to your appeal, and then to the AMA to, as a matter of urgency, consider this a health hazard and an urgent situation that needs something being done about it, just so that at least before the rains come down, you get the necessary help. Would you take that opportunity for us this morning, please?
Sure. I will stand on what you said. Really, the condition of this drain is very bad, and it creates a health hazard for those living in and around it. We will appeal to the MCE and the Assembly to, as a matter of urgency, come to our aid to desilt the drain again. But then I want to add that if this drain can be for us, I think that will be something that will help us, because it's too open, and considering the volume of refuse coming down here, it is not health-wise, it is not good. So if it can be covered for us, we'll be also grateful.
So that has been the Assembly member for this area who has also expressed perhaps a similar sentiment as myself and the rest of the residents who came to join us. I would also seize this opportunity to appeal to especially the MP for this area, as well as the DCE or MCE for this area, to, as a matter of urgency, take this up and help residents. It is a health hazard. Maybe you can't see the severity of it, but just right across from where I'm standing is the girls' dormitory for the St. Mary's Girls High School. And this itself is a deep, serious matter for students who may have come from areas or communities that do not have this kind of drains. And if they carry illnesses or diseases from here, they're going to affect their communities and their neighborhood. We also spoke to Mr. Jonathan Addy. Mr. Jonathan Addy had been very instrumental in our coming to bring you Keep an Eye this morning. Mr. Addy, you find it morning?
Oh, good morning.
Oh, fine.
Oh, drum on your jugba.
Mr. Addy, oh, fine. If you make a got an boy, is an you ought to feel more famous. Table at 10 neighbor.
Ole, to my bonus statue, you got an war, break over 60 something years a bien. Piana for me. You got an only been half got an no mention. Caden she got an a jane can you. Shank been got an a choke about J several times can be covered J. Beko the last time I couldn't about J. About Jenny, I been money and was something by then. It maintained me got an got and no any time you can look about no about Mobu. She here we are. I'm going to share and now you can hear no. I'm going to do a John way it bow get down. Go touch your 2 minutes. Oh no, it's a nice one.
With a bit of assistance from the AMA, we can be sure that this drain will at least provide some service as it should do for those of members who live in this community. This has been Keep an Eye coming to you from Kolebu or Kolegono in the Ablekuma South Municipal Assembly or constituency. As always, my name is Daryl Alantego. Thank you very much for joining us.
And that's Keep an Eye from outside of town. We do hear that yesterday after the downpour, there's been some sort of flooding. And so our guy, Alan, will go there. And we cannot bring you a live report. We'll surely bring you a recorded one for you to see how the place looks like after the rains. The hashtag to follow is GTV Breakfast. I'm going to go over to the corner because something smells yummy. We are going bananas. And so I'm going to hand over to Cuff and Lady Thelma in the corner. They are making something amazing.
It's my second banana for the day. Oh, good. I started with the banana. And we are asking people, listen, how do you say banana in your language? Whatever language you speak, whether it's Ukrainian or yeah, Hausa. We don't know what the name is. Banana. In French, it's banan. In Ever, it's akwadu. Yeah, akwadu. Let me know. 055-556-1030. I'm here with Lady Thelma Boy, and she's the CEO of the College of Culinary Arts and Hospitality Management, celebrating 50 years of excellence in that field. And good to have you here.
Good to miss you guys.
We miss you big time. This Thursday, where's the food? Thursday, where's the food? And now you're here.
I'm here.
Charlie, let's go bananas.
Yes. Banana.
Okay.
It's one of the most common fruit we have. It's everywhere, and usually when it's overripened, people don't know what to do with it. So I have 3 different recipes that we're going to go through. We're going to go through one, but the other ones I'll walk you through it. So we're going to make banana pancakes.
All right.
Very, very simple.
Okay.
Okay, so we have our banana which has been washed. We're just going to peel it. Going to peel
Any
it.
old banana, right? Doesn't matter the short ones, the long ones.
Yeah, I like these ones because they're already soft. And
they look like mini plantains.
Yes, they do. But they are bananas. So we're just going to peel them. I'm just going to use 3.
All right.
Then I will use the fork just to mash it. Mashing it. If you have any aggression, you just use it on the
Anybody's frustrating you, take it out of the banana.
If your husband is or
the
kids,
you
know.
Everybody's frustrating.
Yeah, so we just mash. I don't want it to be too smooth because, I like texture. Okay. So we're just going to mash it like this. Then we're gonna do.
You need to help. If you,
oh
if
yes,
you
I
want
need
to do anything, I'll do it.
I'll let you know. So we have 2 pans here. So we're gonna put the dry ingredient and the wet ingredients. So that with the wet ingredient, I'm gonna put. Can you put the banana in here? So okay,
All right.
1 cup of soft flour, baking powder, 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of sugar.
Okay.
Okay, that's for our wet ingredients. Okay, can you mix it up or just incorporate it in there?
This?
Yes.
Okay.
So for our liquid, right, we have 3 tablespoons of butter. Okay. We have 1 cup of milk.
All right.
I just put it in here like this. Open. Okay. 1 cup of milk. Okay. Then we're gonna have 1. Sorry.
Is that vanilla?
Yeah,
Okay.
extract. You know, I
Okay.
like to use a real thing. So
Okay.
1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. Then we have our egg. Whenever you have eggs, don't just break all together. Just one at a time.
Okay.
Just to make sure, because sometimes they go off, and if you break it all together, what happens?
Then you have messed up them up.
You messed
So
them
you need
up.
to know what's
So
there.
yes,
Okay.
that's it. So I'm gonna take your whisk. You could do this now.
You want to whisk this now?
Yes, whisk it now.
Okay.
Together like that.
Okay. See what it looks like? Yep.
Yes.
So we're making again?
Banana pancakes.
Banana pancakes. Is
Yeah.
the American one?
The American one, because we have baking powder in it,
Okay.
so it's gonna rise.
Okay.
So
So this one has an accent.
it has an accent.
All right. Okay.
And we're gonna make the French ones called crepes.
Ah,
We're
the
gonna
crepe,
make- Yeah, crepe. Yeah. So that's it. So wet into dry.
Okay, so wet into dry.
Yes, wet into dry.
Wet into dry.
Yes.
Okay. Wet into,
Into
dry.
dry.
Okay. And then I keep whisking.
Then yeah, mix it.
Mix.
Just mix
Still?
it. There's butter here. It doesn't. Let me get some of the butter in this.
Waste not the food.
No, because it's all part
So
of
why
it.
is it wet into dry? Is that
It's easier because when you put the dry in there, it's always better to have the wet into dry.
Okay.
Yes, so that's it. Don't get it all together. I just want to give it like this.
Some texture. You like texture?
Yeah. No, we don't want to mix it, otherwise it also gets tough.
Okay.
So that's it.
Okay.
And I have the pan on. It's already hot. So this is Pam. This is like oil. You don't want too much fat in your.
Really? What's it
Yes.
called?
Spam.
Okay.
Yeah, it's oil that's already put like in a spray.
All right.
So we're just gonna take a pancake. And we're just gonna scoop it in here. Like, just gonna scoop it in here.
Wow.
Like this. You give it about 2 minutes.
Yeah, I sense the other Thelma coming over.
Yes. So I've already made some.
You made something? Okay.
Yeah, this morning.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So this is what it will look like.
This is what it will look like. This is what it will look like. And this is the one that looks like crepes. Like the flan. Crap.
So what's the difference? What's the difference?
Okay, this one.
So this is
is
what we're
the
making.
same
This is what we're
thing.
making now.
This is what I'm making now.
Okay.
This one, I blended the what do you call it, banana, and then I added every ingredient to it without the baking powder because the baking powder makes it rise.
Rise.
It's a rising agent.
Okay.
So because I don't want it to rise, and I want it to be smooth.
Okay.
This one I want a texture in it.
Okay.
So I left it like that. This one is flat, and this is the. So we're gonna mix some of that too.
Okay.
I made it this morning. So
So this one is with baking powder.
This with baking
without.
powder.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna increase the
Heat
a little bit. Yes.
Okay. So we're going bananas with
Yes.
banana recipes. This is a banana pancake.
Pancake.
American style.
American style, and this is the French.
French.
Yeah. This is what we usually used to in this country. We usually go for the crepes.
Okay.
The American, the baking powder, it's not really, American, they like everything to be big.
Yes, maybe so.
And the French are tiny. They like to watch their weight. So.
I hear you.
And this is banana. It's called banana bread, but it's actually banana cake. The reason why they call it banana bread is because we bake it in a bread tin.
Okay.
So, but it's everything, has every element of a cake.
It's actually a cake.
Yes, so
Okay.
it's actually a cake. Let me turn it so I'm gonna look at it like
And then
this.
you flip it over.
And I'm gonna
Boom.
flip it
That's
over like that. I have sometimes people have the aluminum frying pan.
Okay.
And it gets stuck. So what you have to do is something called condition. Condition or proof simply means that you put it on fire, and when it's hot, you put some salt in there and you use a napkin just to wipe it out. The reason why you do it that way, because sometimes when you use the soap and others to wash it, there's still residue in there. So it stays in there. So when you want to get stuck at the bottom, but you could always, this is non-stick, so no problem. But the one that are not non-stick, if
salt.
you're having a problem, just put it on fire, use salt, and please, the napkin, when you're doing, fold it like 3 or 4 so that you don't want to burn yourself.
Okay.
And when it's done, you could just, the first one might stick, but afterwards it will
They're
not
good to go.
stick. Yeah,
Okay,
they're good
nice.
to go.
That's a nice hack there for us.
That's
okay.
it. So that is our pancake.
Okay.
But we're gonna make one. I think
The French one?
The French one first. Okay,